So we've just had a huge weapon balancing pass when it comes to the Season 3 and the Reloaded update, and in this video we're going to be going over what I believe to be the 6 best long-range rifles that are currently inside Warzone at the moment. If you do enjoy content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 50k subscribers. Click that link in the description and subscribe to our second channel. So the first thing I want to show you is a quick overview of the actual patch notes themselves, just so you can see that things have actually changed with this update. So we got a neck multiplier change with the Black Ops Cold War AK, AS44 got adjusted, the Assault Rifle Charlie from Vanguard got adjusted, which is the bar, Cooper Carbine, C58, AMAX, Fara, Nikita, Assault Rifle Bravo. We've also got the NZ41 got huge changes, so this could be a really popular weapon now, depending on how it feels in game. Vargo, Volk, the XM4, which is a big one again. So what I've done is taken all the data from the patch notes, put them into our TTK spreadsheet, and give some simplified notes of what actually changed with the specific weapons. On top of that, we do want to mention that it is chest shot TTKs we're looking at 300 HP. Rebirth as well as Caldera both have 300 HP now, so this is going to go for pretty much any game mode more or less. So you don't really need to have 2 sets of stats anymore, because every game mode's going to have 300 HP, and we are focusing on chest shot TTKs because that is the easiest one for us to calculate and get a rough idea of the weapons. So as you can see here, we've put notes for each one of these guns. So Cold War AK got a neck multiplier nerf, which is going to be quite significant because that's kind of what's helping this gun feel a lot better than it is in game. The C58 got the same treatment and neck multiplier nerf, which is not great to be fair because these are really popular guns right now. The Fara got a long range TTK nerf. Then we've got the Vargo, which actually got a buff because they actually nerfed it a bit too much in the previous update. Now the XM4 at close range is going to be less consistent even more, and the neck multiplier got nerfed as well once again. So the XM4 seems to be getting nerf after nerf. This gun is probably going to end up just being garbage soon, so we'll just need to wait and see how it kind of plays out a bit. TTK nerf on the AMAX as well. And on top of that, between some of these updates, they've actually added in a 3rd damage range somehow. So I don't really know how or when they did that, but there is now a 3rd damage drop-off point on the AMAX. There's now better recoil control on the AS44. Headshot damage increase on the bar now. It does 96 damage to the head with 1 bullet if you're using the 40 BMG ammo. Recoil buff to the NZ41, recoil buff to the Nikita as well, so Nikita, NZ41, and the Volk got a head and neck multiplier buff, and the movement got nerfed on this, so that strafing that everyone enjoyed about this gun actually got nerfed now. So what we're going to do is arrange this in terms of 2nd damage range TTKs. That is the main damage range we look at when it comes to long range rifles, and we're going to try and work out which ones are the best long range guns. Now of course the AS44 is going to have one of the fastest TTKs, which is great, but it's not really a long range weapon. Even though they have kind of buffed the recoil again and again on this gun, it's still not as easy to control as some of the other weapons in the game. So ASVAL again, a more of a close range weapon. They've got the Nikita, which actually got a recoil buff in the recent update to make the recoil pattern easier to manage. So I do think this is going to be a very solid weapon now. Scar is up there, but again the mags are too small. STG's been super solid for a long time now, so I mean they never really nerfed it after the most recent buff they gave to it, which I feel like they should have done. AMAX has got that 3rd damage range, so I don't really recommend it too much. FFAR1's not really a long range rifle. C58 still kind of in the mix. That kind of multiplier nerf to the neck is not great for this weapon because it's kind of one of the reasons why it was feeling quite good. And I don't really know why they nerfed this gun so much because it wasn't really all that popular anyway. Is in the 900 millisecond TTK, which is actually not too bad. A lot of the lower recoil guns are kind of coming into the meta now. We've got the Volk here as well. We've got the Cooper Carbine, Automaton. Starting off at number 6 with all these changes, we have the Grau. This is the old faithful when it comes to long range rifles inside Warzone, and the reason why I do think this is extremely solid is because it's more about landing your shots now. It's less about getting that super fast TTK, because a lot of the guns are going to have insanely high recoil, and you want to make sure you can actually land your shots at range. So the Grau, in my opinion, is going to be a solid weapon. Now, it doesn't have the fastest TTK, but like I said, overall, you're going to be hitting every single shot, and therefore it's going to feel like you have a fast TTK. So we've got the monolithic suppressor there for the sound suppression and the damage range. Archangel barrel for the best recoil control. VLK optic, you can use the iron sights as well. 60 round mags is going to be the best mags for this gun because it's the biggest. And then the commando foregrip for the recoil stabilization. But overall, Grau will be a solid option in my opinion. You probably see a lot more people using this weapon. At number 5, we have the C58. Now, the recoil on this gun is still relatively okay to manage. It's not the easiest out of any of the weapons in the game by any means, but it's definitely still a solid gun. The TTK is still pretty decent on this gun as well. Now, with that neck multiplier, it's not going to feel as good as it did before, of course, but it still was a pretty powerful gun, and I do still think it will be up there in the meta. You want to make sure you're using the agency suppressor for the recoil control benefits as well as the sound suppression. You want to use the task force barrel again for the recoil control. Field agent grip, make sure you're using the 55 round mags now. Regardless of what game mode you're playing, you have to use the 55 round mags. You've got 300 HP in every game mode now. At number 5, we have the only actually viable 5 attachment weapon in my opinion. That means Modern Warfare Cold War guns, by the way, is the Vargo. Now, the Vargo got a buff, which is great, but on top of that, it was already good even once it got like completely nerfed in the most recent update. It was still a solid gun because it was low recoil, you can hit your shots very easy, and it still has a pretty competitive TTK with even guns like the Cold War AK, and this has lower recoil, so it kind of only makes sense to go for the lower recoil option. And the Vargo is very solid, so you want to make sure you're using the GRU suppressor for the sound suppression and recoil control, task force barrel for the best recoil control, axial 3x optic, 60 round mags, which is pretty much the best mags for this gun, and the Spetsnaz grip. At number 3, we have my favorite gun to use inside Warzone at the moment, and that is the Automaton. The Automaton is super low recoil when it comes to Warzone weapons, and I do think it's better than the M13 because the recoil is a little bit easier to manage in my opinion. Plus you get a bigger mag, so I mean, why not? On top of that, the TTKs are going to be about the same, so overall it's going to stack up to be a solid weapon. For the build, you want to use the MX silencer for the recoil control, the damage range, and all those kind of bonuses. You want to use a 600mm barrel for the best recoil control, the G16 optic or whatever optic you like. The padded stock is the best stock for this gun, so there's no real reason to use anything else. Tight grip for the best recoil control once again. And then on hand for better ADS time, but you can go for fully loaded if you want to. Both are solid options. Polymer grip again for the recoil control. 75 round mags is the best mags for this gun. It's going to give you the best TTKs as well, so I mean you kind of have to go for it. Lengthen for better bullet velocity, and hand stop under barrel again for the recoil control. But overall, this is probably one of the lowest recoil guns in the game, and it's definitely a very solid option. At number 2, we have the Nikita AVT assault rifle, which got a huge buff with this recent update. So not only is it one of the fastest long range TTK weapons for chest shots in the entire game, it's also got super low recoil now because they adjusted the recoil pattern of this weapon. So it used to actually wiggle around quite a bit, but it was still relatively easy to manage, but now it's just a super easy to control weapon. So I mean, it's just a no-brainer in my opinion at the moment. So when it comes to the muzzle, MX silencer for the recoil control, sound suppression, all that good stuff. The barrel, 613mm is my personal favorite, but the 548 is a solid option as well. So both are really good, both do the same kind of job. Both help with recoil as well, so you could choose personal preference there. Optic, again, personal preference. I just like the G16. Stock, the Zac stock in my opinion is the best at controlling the side-to-side recoil. It does con your ADS a little, but obviously we kind of need to take that con so we can use this weapon at longer ranges. When it comes to perks, we're using brace in this case because brace helps with the initial recoil, and this gun does have quite a bit of initial recoil. Once you get past that recoil, it's very easy to manage. Then we're using on hand for better ADS, fully loaded, you can go for as well. Polymer grip for the sustained fire recoil control, so that is going to help with the recoil whilst you're constantly firing down range. 50 round mags are the best because the 60 round actually cons your bullet velocity and range, which you do not need. Lengthened, and then the hand stop under barrel again for the recoil control. So overall, this is going to be one of the best weapons in the game right now. Last but not least, and without a doubt, the best gun in the game right now when it comes to long range is the STG. I mean, it's so easy to control, plus It's one of the fastest killing guns in the game. Plus it's a vanguard weapon, so it moves relatively quick. So overall, it's a no-brainer. You want to use the MX silencer for the best possible recoil control, 760mm barrel for the same reasons, G16 optic or whatever optic you like. Weighted stock is the best stock for the STG. Vital perk you need for that fast TTK, so make sure you have it on there. Then on hand, or you can use fully loaded as well. Polymer grip for the best possible recoil control when you're in that sustained fire. 50 round mags is the best because it helps with the recoil and the fire rate, making this gun an absolute laser. Then we've got lengthened for ammunition for the better bullet velocity, hand stop under barrel, and overall this is the best gun in the game right now in my opinion. So there we have it. Those are the 6 best long range rifles in the game at the moment. If you did enjoy this video and you want to see the SMG video as well as sniper support guide, then don't forget to subscribe as we're trying to reach our goal of 50k subscribers, and thank you very much for watching.